Hi everyone, welcome back to another video where I do whatever the frick I want. How are you? Let me know down in the comments because I want to know. I'm doing fine, thank you for asking, I appreciate it. Today I wanted to make a new video. I've already done this video in the past, but I went back and looked at it and I thought it was not very good, not up to my standards, quite shitty, so I wanted to redo it. This video is in two different parts. The first part is going to be all the different vehicles that you can pick, the pros and cons of each vehicle. The second part is going to be just pros and cons of van life or living in a vehicle in general. So if you already know what vehicle you're going to get or you've already bought your vehicle, then skip to this time and then that'll show you all the pros and cons of just living in a vehicle in general. If that makes sense. I hope it did. Thank you. Okay, well I think that's all I have to say. I looked at my notes. First, let's talk about all the different options that you have for buying a vehicle. Obviously, the main one is going to be an RV. RV just stands for recreational vehicle, but when I'm talking about an RV, I mean those big box RVs that are freaking huge. The pros of living in one of those, obviously, is space. They're freaking ginormous. You have plenty of space to store food, clothes, accessories if you want to bring a bike or something. The second thing is going to be luxury. Obviously, RVs are going to have a lot of different amenities built in already, like a shower, a toilet, a full kitchen most of the time. Sometimes they even have like islands. Now for the cons of an RV. The first one's pretty obvious, gas mileage. They are gas guzzlers. Not much worse than my van though. My van gets about like 10 to 11 miles per gallon depending on if my water tank's full, because that changes the weight by quite a bit. But most people that I've talked to that have RVs get like 5 to 7 miles per gallon depending on the size, which really isn't that good if you don't have a lot of money for gas. It might hurt the bank a little bit. The next con to an RV is how big they are. It's really hard to find parking whenever you're in a city or something like that. Actually, don't even try driving through cities with an RV. I don't even drive through cities with my van. I guess it's possible, but it would be so stressful. And then also, going to the store, you'd have to take up like 8 parking spots or something like that. So if the store is busy or something, good luck trying to find somewhere to park. But another thing you should think about is if you want to go out somewhere and go boondocking, which is basically just camping in the middle of nowhere, it might be difficult to get your vehicle out there because a lot of these places don't have paved roads. They're very bumpy. The last thing is price. Obviously, a lot of RVs are going to be quite expensive, especially when compared to the price of vans. The second vehicle choice would be a camper, which isn't a vehicle exactly. But the pros obviously are that you can detach it, so you can drop it off somewhere either at a campsite or in the middle of nowhere or something like that, and then drive whatever you're pulling it with, your truck or your car, into the city and go do things. And then also, not everyone needs to go with you. If you're trying to run errands or something, people can stay at the camper while you leave and go get groceries. Yeah. Another pro for having a camper is that it's still a lot of space, like I said, but then they're usually cheaper than having an RV. The last part that I could personally think of for having a camper, campers, as you can see, are very similar to the RVs. Yeah, would be amenities once again, like a kitchen, toilet, just bathroom in general, shower, stuff like that. But there definitely are some cons that I would consider thinking about before getting a camper. The biggest con would be that it doesn't drive itself. So if you're in an emergency, say you're chilling in your bed at night, and then something bad happens and you need to drive away, there's someone outside that's trying to harm you, perhaps, I don't know. You have to get out of your camper, run outside to wherever the threat is, get to your truck or car, and then drive away. Which, obviously, in that situation would not be the ideal choice. It'd be better to just run up front in your RV and be able to drive away, or like the front of your van. Just definitely something to consider in case something bad happens, so that you're able to get away. And then the next con is basically the same as having an RV, is that it's big, it's hard to get out into the middle of nowhere. If you are taking it to a parking lot in a store, you have to consider like parking space and stuff like that. But those are the only cons that I could really think of, but I would definitely consider that one that I talked about, being able to drive away if you need to before getting a camper. So the third vehicle choice would be a Class B, which I guess is technically what I have with my van. I guess mine's actually a box truck, it's not a van, but yes. The first pro would be that it obviously has more space than just a normal van, usually more headspace, you can stand in them, but they're still small enough to drive down city roads without feeling like you're gonna run over a pedestrian because you can't see them. Or if you want to go into the middle of nowhere, they're also small enough to go down like small dirt roads and stuff like that if you want to go camping. And then also normally you'd be able to park them in a normal parking spot. So going to the store or something like that wouldn't be an issue. Usually you could just take up like one spot. And then probably the biggest pro about having a Class B instead of a van, oh Millie's snoring, is definitely the amenities. Most Class Bs actually have amenities. They have sinks, sometimes showers, sometimes toilets, things like that. They're usually really small though, like the shower and toilet are like combined. So you're basically sitting on the toilet while taking a shower, which maybe that's your thing, I don't know. But I mean, it's just convenience. I shower in a little tiny thing. It really doesn't matter. A shower is a shower, especially when you're living on the road in the middle of nowhere and you just need somewhere to shower. It does the job. And then now for the cons of having a Class B. Obviously, it's going to have a lower gas mileage than just a normal van. And then usually they cost quite a bit more than just buying a normal van that doesn't have anything in it already, or even a converted van. Sometimes they cost a lot more than that. But like I said, obviously it depends on the year and make and model of the vehicles. The next vehicle choice would obviously be just a normal van. The pros of that are that they're the smallest, so you really won't have issues with finding somewhere to park or driving down roads or anything like that, or getting out into the middle of nowhere. Another pro would probably be that this would have the best gas mileage out of any of these. Like I said, it depends on the make and model. Millie keeps farting and it smells so bad. Like, you guys have no idea. Wow. Some nuclear warfare up in this bitch. But then obviously the cons would be that they're usually really small. You have to build them yourself most of the time unless you can find one that's already built. But then if you find one that's already built, they're going to be really expensive. Obviously another con is going to be that you're not going to have a toilet in there most likely unless you have like a little portable toilet, but you're not going to have much space for that. You're probably not going to have a kitchen, and if you do, it's going to be very small. You're definitely going to have less room for a bed, so I don't know. Depending on how many people you're going to have living in the van, if it's 2 people, it might be a little bit cramped. And then the last option would be a Class C, which I think is honestly one of the best bets. The pros of having a Class C is that they have a lot of space. Normally they have those like over the driver's seat like bunk bed kind of things for either a bed or storage. It's called a loft. That's what it's called. Thank you. They usually have amenities like a kitchen, sink, bathroom, all those things. I've already gone over that. They're usually on the smaller side, at least compared to a camper or RV, so usually they can drive down city streets if you need to. You can usually park them in 1 parking spot, maybe 2, depending on the size. Obviously, a con of having one of these is that it's probably going to be a gas guzzler. Usually Class Cs, they're like notorious for that. Not as bad as RVs, but definitely worse than vans or Class Bs. So now that we've gone over that, let's just talk about the perks of living in a vehicle. Which they're not actually perks, these are the downsides of living in a vehicle, if you couldn't tell from my sarcasm. Bathroom situation. Obviously, a lot of these vehicles already have bathrooms, but still, that's not where it ends. It doesn't just disappear from the poop fairy, it doesn't just get taken away. You have to go dump it at some point. So that's always a hassle. Obviously, the bigger your tank, the less often that you'll have to do it. So if you're an RV, maybe once a month, depending on the amount of people that are in there, I really don't know. And then also, you can't just dump it anywhere. You have to go to an RV dump station, which they're not really that hard to find, honestly, but a lot of the times there's lines and it can take up to like 2 hours just to do that. So it can be an all-day thing to be able to go dump your toilet. The next thing is just the weather and how hot and cold it is. Your vehicle will probably have heat and air conditioning, but you're probably not going to want to run that all the time, just especially if it's a gas guzzler. So be ready to be really hot and really cold. And then you also have to worry about your water freezing because you don't want your pipes bursting. Usually nicer vehicles like RVs already have like coils wrapped around their pipes that will warm it up to keep it from freezing. So if you have that, then hopefully that won't be an issue. There's nothing worse than your water tank freezing and then now you don't have water for the rest of the day. It's always a really nice joy in the morning when you get up and you're ready to take a shower and then you don't have any water. It's really fun. It's happened like twice to me. Yeah. Fun. The next thing, bugs.
Just got my lashes done in the club, munching you.
I don't really care about bugs that much. The only thing I don't mess with is spiders. No. You'll constantly find bugs in your vehicle, even if you have a screen, even if you have like bug zappers everywhere, doesn't matter. You will find bugs in your vehicle. The next thing to consider for all vehicles is it's an earthquake. Really is, no matter what you drive. I guess the bigger your vehicle, the less noticeable it'll be. I really don't know. But my van, if I hit like one bump, everything turns into like projectiles back here. So I have everything Velcroed down. Not right here, so this isn't a good example. So that's another suggestion. Velcro everything. Velcro will be your best friend living in a van. It definitely will. One of the last cons are chores, which no one likes doing chores even in your own house. They're not fun. But in an RV or vehicle, chores are 10 times more difficult. They just are. More than likely, you won't have a dishwasher unless you're like in a really nice RV. But even then, you still have to find a place to get water. You don't have unlimited water. So you have to drive around trying to find somewhere to fill up your water, probably like every week, depending on how much you use. The next thing, trash. Yes, you can't just throw your trash outside. So my 2 tips are either throwing away your trash at one of the RV dump stations, or, this is another life hack, make sure you call first so that you don't get in trouble. Walmart's, my best friend. Please sponsor me, thank you. They usually have trash cans, like dozens, sometimes like 30 in the parking lots. But if you're in the middle of nowhere and there's no Walmart's near you and no RV dump stations for 50 miles, it's kind of a pain in the butt. It really is, especially if your trash is just piling up and piling up and piling up and you're literally stepping over it. So these are definitely all things to consider before trying to get a vehicle. Now I'm sure you're wondering, where should I look to buy my vehicle? Yes. I found mine on Craigslist. This is where I had the best luck. I found multiple different vehicles. Usually things on there are cheaper also, instead of going to like a dealership, which is my next thing. I'm getting ahead of myself. The only thing is that you can be scammed on there. And then also, it can be kind of sketchy meeting with just random strangers. You never know what can happen. But you can get a bargain, so it's worth it, right? Yeah. But as I said before, the next place you can look is like an RV dealership, something like that. I haven't been to one of these, but I know a couple people that have had success going to RV dealerships. The only thing is that they'll probably be more expensive. You'll find newer vehicles there. Another website that I had luck with was Facebook Marketplace. So this is just through Facebook. You'll be able to find a lot of different vehicles on there, just like on Craigslist. But honestly, I'd probably suggest Facebook over Craigslist because at least you can look at people's profiles, make sure they're real people, so you know who you're talking to, at least. What's my outro? Oh, I didn't write one. Okay, that's fun. Welp, I hope that this video was helpful in some way. I really do. Please leave any tips or tricks or correct anything that I said that was wrong in a nice way, please. Be polite. Down in the comments, feel free. And then also, if you're watching this video for information purposes, make sure to check down below as well, because I'm sure there's a lot of good suggestions down there. Well, if you liked this video, don't forget to give it a like, comment, and subscribe. Liking and commenting is a free way that you can help the channel out. It shows the algorithm that you enjoyed the video, which then will cause YouTube to push my videos to more people, so it really helps out the channel. If you really want to help, spam some comments down below, like I send, loved, send, this, send, video, send, or I hated this video. That's completely fine too. Whichever. Last but not least, I'd like to say a huge thank you to everyone who's supporting the channel on Patreon. Thank you guys so freaking much. Millie and I really appreciate it. Without your guys' help, I would not be able to continue uploading content, so we really do appreciate all of your support. And an extra special thank you goes to Stephen Buckner, Scott Ashley Smith, Michael Posh, William Ward, Blaine B., Tom Morrison, Scott Sweaters, Lyle Morgan, It's Me, Paul Carpenter, Bobby Legliski, Anthony Tamburino, Britt Saunders, Joanne Gittins, Jordan Vajda, and Duncan Stewart Cumming. But I think that's all I have to say. Peace out. I hope all of you guys have a great rest of your day, night, whatever time it is when this video reaches you. Bye-bye. I'll see you in my next video. Also, leave any video suggestions down below. Okay, thank you. Peace.